It is finally time for us to be able to expand outside of Riverdale and seize control of all of this scrap metal over here. To be able to extend our influence out there, we're going to have to set up a new district. And so we're going to have to deal with all the logistics that come with starting fresh here with the new district. We need to pick up this drop-off point. And up here on the top of this ridge, we've built the distribution post. So that will allow us to have all of these workers send batches of resources over to the new district, which is going to be very important for us to do. And then, unfortunately, this, like, it's hard to see right now in the dark, but all of this birch trees, this dead forest, going to get a little bit in the way of our initial placements. Hopefully not too bad. Okay, so now we have to choose what is the point at which we want to have the district gate. I mean, I feel like we just kind of plop it down over here. We're gonna put it in just right here, right here. Ta-da! Entering the new district. And then being able to secure the metal here. It's the whole reason that we're building out here, so we're gonna plop that down. We're gonna set this up as the scrapyard, and now, if you select Riverdale, you can go migrate population to the scrapyard. We're gonna send over 4 guys to be able to work all of the jobs here at the district center. Get us started over here. So they need, let's see here. From the labor, they need a drop-off point. Probably gonna connect it as quick as I can. Right down here. And then we're gonna need to set up our first couple routes. So we need to send them everything they need. Everything they could need. So they need building supplies. They need food. And water there. We will get them, try to make them as self-sufficient as possible. There's good farming land here. There is good area to be able to pump water out of this reservoir. So in those regards, they should be fine, but they're probably always going to rely back on home base to be able to be supplied with food and other building supplies. Let's get that main. No, it's going to require planks. Okay, so we have to send over planks too. What do we pay for efficiency? Honestly, I guess we could just take a lumberjack over here and then, rather than destroying these trees, we could at least be able to get a few locally sourced logs. Send a few more characters over there to help man the new operations. We've added in routes for gears and paper to be able to really kickstart what this district is able to do. I think we might need an additional warehouse here to be able to make sure that we have storage for everything. So the way that the distribution routes work is that you have a cap of 100 resources by default. You can set distribution limits here. And so they will keep on running the route over here until they reach 100 of all of the different resources. And that's currently the plan. So, and then if you just select on any of the buildings within the district, your inventory notes up here of like building supplies and food, lumber, etc., are all going to be exclusively for this district. And then if you like click away, you see the combined resources of both districts. And so you can switch back and forth to make sure that you are monitoring your inventory. And then the drop-off point actually itself has a pretty solid capacity, 300 capacity. So we're just going to store all of our logs here. All the logs that get brought over are just going to stay here in this tiny little drop-off point, which is fabulous. rather than having to waste space with another log. What do they even call it? The log pile. Pile of logs. We are making our own water, which is really nice to be able to see. We can... Ooh, we probably want a water tank. Oh, and it fits so elegantly. Yep. That was meant to be. It is going to sap up a bunch of gears, but that's the price we pay. Okay, I would really like more ground to be cleared over here for some farmland to make sure that we are getting enough resources to stay alive out here. What's our population looking like over here? We have a limit of 12 right now, and we're not able to work the water pump. We have 2 children that are going to be aging up in space for 2 more. We should probably expand our housing a little bit. Ooh. Oh, why did I think that was a good idea? It built during the drought, and we just absolutely flood over this. Brilliant. Yeah, so we demolished that. And instead... Looks like we're building some more platforms here. Honestly, I will keep this path running down here to be able to give us access. I don't know what we're really going to use that for. I guess it does give us access for being able to use dynamite later on to be able to extend the volume of this reservoir. It's not going to be a huge deal. And now we want this. The pump house. Get that going. Nice. And now this guy I think is done. Yeah, that birch seedling is dead. So we'll move him on. Put the path over here. And our lumberjack can just clear out these dead trees for us. Okay, I did actually really like being able to just build the windmills kind of onto the storage here. Unfortunately, you cannot fit 2 on a single portion of the building right here. But we can still get the 2 windmills up and then extend our industry. As long as they're still connected to the building, they'll be able to get the benefits of the power production. And I don't know, we could put like housing back here that would give us potentially space for another windmill. Or just like stair access. Something, we'll be able to build it up to make it a little more interesting. Okay, drought starting in 2 days here. Want to be able to kick this up, put as much water as we can into the reservoir. We'd like to be able to store some more water over here in Scrapyard. So we'll set up the construction of that. But we also don't want Scrapyard to hog all of our gears, which they will if they're taking these 100 gears. We're gonna cut down how much they're allowed to receive to 20. And then you can change the setting over here as well. I don't know which one is Trump. There's probably only one of these that you have to set. There we go. We also want Scrapyard here to be able to have a little bit better farming situation, be a little more self-sufficient in terms of their food supplies. We don't need too much of a surplus population over here, but the next piece is going to be getting the shredder. What is it? The shredder to be able to produce metal blocks. But over here in Riverdale, we want to be able to hold a larger reserve of water as well, just for when these droughts come. And then that means we'll probably put down a water pump. And I think that we're going to kick up the number of hours that our citizens are working. So this bar represents when it is nighttime, and so that's the default definition of working hours. But what they use that off time for is replenishing all of these well-being needs. And we didn't even have providers of fun, knowledge, spirituality, etc. So they're going to spend a lot of their time during the night just idle. This is the time when they do, like, grab a drink, go get something to eat, and replenish those vital pieces, as well as sleep. But the rest of the time they're just they're just idle, so we can try and get an extra 2 hours a day out of our workers. Be able to press on to the what I see as the critical path of being able to expand our reservoir to survive droughts. We'll see how long this coming drought is going to be, how much of a pinch it is going to give us. And then something I want to do is be able to extend industry in this area here, but these paths are pretty much critical for being able to service our existing buildings. And so to be able to share the power supply that we have already set up over here, which I do want to be able to do, we're going to have to get a little bit creative in how we bridge the gap here. And then we can also set up some, hopefully some water wheels down here to be able to provide a little bit of extra power. But I think the play is that we go to a small warehouse just across from the other one. And then if we build these platforms in between, this gives us a nice open area to build up. And then if we place another small warehouse right in between, it would bridge the building over the path. Give us a lot more expansion options this way. And because we already have a path up here to be able to get to this windmill, we already have access to the second floor, which is very convenient. This drought is going to last about 9 days. That shouldn't be too hard for us to be able to weather. I want to keep on working down here to figure out how efficiently we can pack stuff together so we can get an extra water wheel. Now this is not going to actually provide us with anything until the river starts flowing again, so I would like to be able to integrate another windmill in its place as well. Can I get a windmill just right here on the corner? No. I figured out I can get a windmill right here, which means that we're also going to want to get this connector and then boost the priority of that to have it built first so that building the windmill doesn't block out the workers of being able to build the power shaft. Then I think to make even better use of this space, we're actually going to unlock the mini lodge here. Build these tiny buildings because they do give us the solid roof. Make sure that we keep at least a little bit of water flowing here. Don't want the crops to run dry while we're working on all of this. Yes, we have the science points to be able to get the paper mill. Now, of course, that's going to be a long building queue because this requires another 15 gears, and we have like 40 gears locked up over here. So it's going to be quite the wait. I guess I could build another gear workshop in here. Space it down somewhere like this. The challenge is that I know that I want to be able to include landscaping. The explosives factory. And I know from another playthrough that the explosive factory footprint is 2x4, which makes it a lot more challenging to be able to fit into this space. It would basically run, I mean, yeah, I'm working with a 3x5. What is the best way to attach it? Maybe it's just on the second story. It could have a bunch of platforms. Bunch of platforms jutting out on this side to attach, kind of. Yeah, we already have the stairway up. And that would mean that we would be able to place a gear workshop in like here without conflicting. Sure, that's what we'll do. And then maybe have space for another windmill in the corner here. And yeah, that's the plan. With that, the drought has lifted. We weathered that actually really easily. Very happy with how well the reservoir was able to ration out. We still had a little bit of water back here, and we were able to continue building up our stockpile of water and food throughout the entire drought. It is a downside to lose all of the power production out of the water wheels, but that was really all that we had to suffer through, so now let the good times flow. We have unlocked the explosives factory, and the plan for where we were going to build it evolved a little bit. I used a small warehouse to fill in this area and then put up a bunch of platforms to be able to have the ability to build it on the second story and still connect over into the builder's hut to share a power network. And then this little stubby place is a plan to add in another windmill to be able to keep up with the power demand of this whole industrial complex. It's asking for 410 horsepower right now. Very easy to be able to supply when you have the water wheels turning. But this is kind of trying to future-proof. Hopefully it's tall enough. It might have to go taller. Let's see. It does conflict. That is unfortunate. Though if we were able to build it out here, it'd be okay. Okay. So, I still need to keep it above the path so that its connectors do not conflict with being able to move the workers across. But then I could build here. Wonderful. Oh, we're hitting the flood capacity. Alright, well we built up the reservoir nice, so let's go ahead, kick this one up. Now that we are planning on building the explosives factory, there's still a pretty large building bottleneck to be able to get enough gears over here to build it, but we're also for the first time going to require metal blocks, which we have been machining. Oh no, we have not. I never got this upgrade for the shredder. Okay, so we need to let the science points trickle in to be able to build the shredder out here. Yeah, there's more work that we need to do over here in Scrapyard that I've not been paying attention to. Okay, so we want an additional windmill placed up right here. We are also, in the meantime, going to need to set up a distribution post to be able to send metal back across. Huge building. I wish that it was not so big. It doesn't even have, like, much capacity. This tiny little drop-off point, this has enormous storage capacity. 300 storage capacity. That's better than a small warehouse, and it fits on a smaller footprint. And I believe it costs less. Yeah, it's free. It's absolutely free. The hang-up is that you cannot store goods normally here. It's just goods coming in from other districts can be held over here temporarily. Oh, another drought is coming in already. 3 days for the next drought. I suppose because the last one was so short, relatively short, they don't give you as much of a break in between. We'll see how long this one goes. So now we're in a pinch. Do we spend the science points on being able to get the shredder, critical path for developing explosives and terraforming, or do we save up to be able to get the beehive to make use of our paper factory and boost the growth of nearby crops? I think the beehive might actually be fairly desirable to be able to get the most out of the field space that we do have. It's kind of awkwardly shaped, and it's not going to be easy to expand with the way that we have planned out our districts so far, so the beehive improvement I think is going to be pretty important for us. There it is. We're gonna go for the beehive. That is the plan. So now let's look at the beehive. Okay, so it has a radius of 3 spaces out on every side. It's kind of a square of 7 spaces across. Time to figure out where exactly we want to place that. I think actually as soon as they harvest this corner of the wheat, we'll find a good spot for it. Like right here is what I'm envisioning. Come on, little beaver. Yes, this next square. The next spot I want a beehive, I believe, is going to be right here. So we'll go to plant, clear planting area, and then we're going to have to, I believe, demolish because, will it conflict? Yeah, it conflicts. Okay, so demolish, mark resources for demolition. There we go. Pull up the potatoes. Going to plant a beehive. All right, the drought has begun. 19.3 days? 19 days? That's more than twice as long as the previous drought that we just had. Okay, things are really gonna come down to being a pinch here. We're going to have to rub our proverbial water pennies together till they squeal. Ration it out as much as we can. Do we have any surplus population? So we have 4 surplus here, and then we have 2 surplus up here. That's not bad. Though at the same time, I don't need this many workers out here. What I do need is the shredder running. There it is, the first beehive. So this will boost the growth of the nearby crops. It doesn't say by how much. I'll have to run some tests to see how much extra efficiency it is really giving us, but being able to hit a fairly large radius here in the field, and it doesn't cost any upkeep. It's just going to be a passive increase, and we need all that we can get out of our field space right now, so happy to have it. At last, we have the science points to smack down the shredder. We have enough unemployed to be able to work it, and then we want to establish... Oh, I already set it up. Metal blocks to Riverdale. And so that will cap out at 100 metal blocks. I think that's fine. I mean, as long as they have a stockpile to be able to build whatever they want, I'll be happy. I kind of want the hub of industry to still be here in Riverdale and not have to expand Scrapyard too much, but if space constraints become too much of an issue, we're probably going to be adding on to Scrapyard here. We do have the advantage up here of actually being built on the large reservoir rather than having to control the reservoir to irrigate this entire area. And then there is a fair bit of waste in terms of the irrigation because we have this bank that we're not really able to use because it's so small, but the water is still going to be lost irrigating that area. And then this portion as well we are not using. Though I suppose to the same token, there's this entire bank that we're not using up here on Scrapyard, though we could. I don't think that it's too far to get across to be able to make use of that side of the bank. Scrapyard is done. The reservoir has gone dry. They still have 7 days to go to live off their stores. They have 500 water in the bank and 300 food. Things might get a little tight for them, but then again, they are a much smaller population, and they can draw off the larger reserves that Riverdale has if needed. Or... in a really dark, if things take a dark turn, Riverdale can cut them off and then repopulate later. There it goes. Now Riverdale's water supply has run dry. We're going to be surviving entirely upon our stockpiles. We have a fair bit of water and food stockpiled, 1,600 water, and then nearly 3,000 units of food. The food is going to be very important to watch because we're going to lose all of the progress of growth in the crops. They're going to be dry for too long and then just all die out, except for, you know, this tiny corner of potatoes, which is sustained by the irrigation from this pond. So that's a nice little perk. We'll be able to have a few fresh grilled potatoes, but that's all. And we have 5 days to go. Hey, the explosives factory is finally here, and in the meantime, we have also been able to accrue the science points necessary to unlock dynamite. Now, whatever it produces, we will be able to put into effect. And let's see, where do we want to test our newfound explosive power? I think what could be kind of fun is having a slightly deeper reservoir of water just for crop irrigation. We're gonna try this, see how it goes. Can I put the dynamite under? No, it conflicts with the pipe. That is unfortunate because these would be able to continue pumping up to a depth of 2, and right now they're only at a depth of 1. We also, I think, are going to want to connect with this pond over here. Is that even in range of the district's influence? It is not. Okay, so I want paths. The drought is nearly over. We are producing dynamite, and we have our first experiments with terraforming almost ready to pop off, but that is going to have to be for our next episode. I feel a lot more confident in our ability to survive. Now that we have dynamite, I feel like this opens up a lot of options for us being able to expand the reservoir. We know that even longer droughts are coming, so will we be able to terraform fast enough and be clever enough in how we store up water to survive? Come in for the next couple episodes to find out. Leave a like if you are enjoying the video series. Comment on any expansion projects you think that we should embark on now that we have pretty much everything open up to us. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.